was pretty badass.
Awesome. We just realized we forgot to hit record, so we started recording in the middle of your conversation, Vince.
I think it came in right when I said badass.
All right, good. Helgi, questions, comments, status?
Last night, which went good, but I messed up a little bit on my sales pitch because I ran out of time with the time slot that I had. But I've been in contact with a guy who set it up for me, and I'm getting people into my close group that I have. So that's probably the major thing that I got going on right now.
So the presentation that you did last night was to whom again?
Golfers.
The golfers. And how many attended?
Oh, I think maybe close to like 70.
Wow.
Wow.
Are you able to get a hold of that list?
Yeah. I mean, it's in progress. I've reached out to the coaches, and they have closed groups, and I asked them that I have this closed group that I'm sharing my mindset stuff on, and people are start joining the group.
Okay, good. So when you get the list, are you able to follow up with them and make the offer to them via an autoresponder or email or however?
Yeah, I will contact them.
Good. Okay, good. Try to get the list. I know you're waiting for other people, but try to get the list sooner rather than later, because right now they're hot, right?
Yeah.
Was the feedback really good?
Yes, I got very good feedback.
Yeah, I bet. Are you going to be able to do more?
Yeah, I was actually talking to, they have these training camps like 5 times a year. So I'm trying to get in there and with the mindset stuff. So they have 5 training camps. So I don't know when they are, but I just have to find out and be in contact with the coach.
Excellent. What did you end up putting your price point on for your program?
It was, I didn't go as high as you said, because I mean, I think the market is a little bit different that we have. So it's just a different culture. So I was $5.99.
$5.99. Okay.
Yeah. But it's a little bit different. I was talking to this guy this morning, and it's a little bit different. Just like I said, culture that we have regarding prices.
I would be curious to see then when you do get the list and can do the pitch through to them through the list, how many buy?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I did offer the group as well, and that was $297 for 6 weeks.
You offered that at the presentation?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I just offered both the one-on-ones and then the group.
Okay. So no takers.
No, I just ran out of time.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Then let's follow up and see what kind of response you get.
Yeah.
Excellent. Anything else?
I'm fine.
You're fine? Okay.
I got...
Stan?
I had a call with you just now, so I'm fine.
I know, but the rest of them weren't on the call, so maybe you generated some more questions, because sometimes that happens.
Well, maybe my stuff is just secret and I don't want anyone else to know. No, I'm good. Like I said, I'm happy with, obviously it's going slow. I'm happy with everything launching now and finally finding the right track. But I will be speaking to you guys very soon privately, so don't worry. I will be reaching out to you because I have a small little idea that I'm going to run by each of you. So in any case, I'm not an Asian, man. I'm not even freaking close to Asia. Africa. There's a difference. It doesn't mean because we were talking in like 40 degrees weather the other day and you only heard every 7th word. I'm now an Asian. If there's
Half
there's
the time you look Asian with the, you come on and like just shot.
yeah, because that's the wonderful internet. Gary knows the internet too well. Okay, that's me. I'm done. I don't have any questions.
We're gonna disable chat for you, Vince. It's all trouble. All right. Well, Gary, do you have anything you want to add?
No one has any other questions. I don't have anything I want to add. I just want to make sure everyone's staying consistent with what they're doing, and don't be afraid to ask the questions, right? We all have questions. No question is a stupid question. Make sure that you do take advantage of these times where we're all here together and we can all have, 1, 2, 3, 6 different perspectives on a specific question. Right?
Okay, can I add a question there? No. Just seriously, I have a question now. Because Stacy said something similar, and I was wondering if you guys are experiencing the same thing. Now, this is pretty much a mindset thing. You guys are experiencing a self-worth thing where with charging premium prices. Are you guys experiencing the same thing, that sometimes you feel that you want to charge this, but you're thinking, maybe I shouldn't charge this because I should just get the people to get it going, especially when you're launching something new? I just wanted to know if you guys experience the same thing, or is it just me?
I would say I am in a sense. You know how Brian at the well, if you're at his house for the cannon thing, you weren't able to make it, Stan, but where he kept going, we have kids to feed. Kids, they cost money. And that I keep going back to, but I want to help the ones that don't have as much money as the ones that Brian can work with. And I keep going back to that. And I'm like, there are people out there that don't have the money right now, but they have the capability of making that money. And so I keep having a hard time charging the Brian thought process, because I would never, ever, ever be able to afford what Brian would charge. But I know I'm capable of doing the same thing as the people he probably works with. I'm just not there yet. So I think that's where my price part comes in. It's like, they could have the capability of being amazing. I need to give them a chance. Not give it away, but be right at an uncomfortable spot for them, that it's worth taking a risk of doing the program. Does that make sense at all? So I'm in the middle. Okay, I'm done.
Where do you think that comes from, Stacy?
Well, I just look at where I look at where I came from, and I'm like, what I would have paid for a program, like I would have never been able to pay any more than I did.
How much did you
but
pay?
I know
Stace?
I have the capability. What's that?
How much did you pay, Stace?
For the first one, it was I think I paid $850 for a 12-week program.
$850.
Yeah, for a 12-week program.
Okay, and then what was the next price?
That one was less because that was the sustainable success.
So that was $450.
Right.
Plus
this,
which is okay, a good amount. So
yeah.
Let's say.
So I built the relationship, and then I trusted Brian and everything that he had to offer, and then he was going to be there and stuff. That the $850, there was a pain there, enough for me to take action. And then I built the relationship and the trust and all the programs that he offers, where I'm willing to pay what the MPA is.
Okay. Do you have anything to say, Camille?
I'll let you go first.
So, Stan, self-worth. I think a lot of people, including myself and Brian, we literally have this conversation about self-worth with each other, right? So everybody has some type of story regarding some type of self-worth, right? When you say, do I want to charge a premium price of this or that, there's certain markets that you're going to get into that. All right. So that's business. Let's talk about your mindset on this whole thing right now. Everything that Stacy just said, right, about how she wants to help the people that are lower, that cannot afford that thing, that higher price, me not being conclusive, and Camelia might have a totally different view on it, is that is a complete story that Stacy has in her head, right? Can you imagine if you helped Stacy? Do you think that you're going to help 1 million people at $30 or at whatever that price is for you to be able to stay in a lifestyle that you want to sustain? Because it all does come down back to you. Like, you need your ownership of it all. It's not like that. Sure, there's going to be people that can't afford you. There are. And I help people that can't afford me. I do pro bono stuff too. I do stuff like that. But there's a deeper in my opinion, there's a deeper underlining story with that self-worth that relates to comparative thought process of other people. Where I started, where you started, Stacy, that's what you just said. You said, where I started, I knew that I would never be able to afford that at this point in my life, right? But you shelled out $850 for something that you did not know was going to help you at all, right?
Right.
Right? You shelled it out. You did not have $850 at that time to do, right?
Correct.
Was it worth it?
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
But I don't think that for a 3-month program, $800 is like really that much. So like I just tried to do $500 for an 8-week program. Well, that's more. That's like if you did it for 3 months, that's more.
Let's take this back to your subconscious. Your subconscious is telling you that $500 is too much to pay for 12 weeks. $800 is not enough. Is your brain is translating to what you think these people are going to say, right? Because you think they're going to say 500 is too much, or 800 is too much, or what I'm charging is too much. You're not subconsciously saying to yourself, this is a great deal. 500 is not enough. And I think you need to go back into what you're training your subconscious to think. And your thoughts all along here is, it's too much. It's too much. They can't afford it. They can't afford it. When in reality, the people that see the value, and even if they can't afford it, the ones that see the value, the ones that want to do the work, the ones that want to work with you will find a way. I'm going to go back to a story Carrie told us, and I think it might have been at the summit, where she had that girl who had the huge issue, and she said, you know what, it's a lot of money, but I'm going to find the money, and I'm going to make it work because I see the value, and I know it's going to change my life. And lo and behold, she went and scraped and scraped and scraped and found the money and changed her life. Completely worth it. Saw the value in it and wanted to make the change. But you're telling these people from the start, subconsciously, it's too much money. Why would you want to do this? It's too much money.
And I'm not going to Jedi mind trick anything right here, but I kind of am. And I'm thinking that Stacy's saying in her mind, but people aren't buying at that rate. So obviously it is too much money. Is my Jedi mind trick right?
Yeah. Well, I think in this case, I was saying I only have one person interested. I don't want to run the group for one person. I mean, because after she didn't buy right on there, I started thinking, how am I going to get more people? I just am not in front of enough people. I just need to be in front of more people and offer it more often. But it could be what I'm saying.
Well,
and go from 800.
Part of growing a business, you must always be in front of people and continually marketing and continually building your leads. Absolutely. There's no question about it. You can't base the life of your business on the result of one client that did not go into that's not forming a group, right? Just you have to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Helgi, are you on the call? I know that you have your screen up, but can you hear me? So you can hear me. So Helgi and I had a conversation a while ago about when he started his business and I started my business. and I don't know specifically our fitness businesses. And when we started the business, Helgi, tell me if I'm correct. Numerically, I don't think I'm going to be correct, but you didn't have the money to start your business. Is that right?
With a mindset?
No, with your gym.
No. Far
Right?
from it.
You didn't have it. I didn't have the money to start a gym either. This is just a gym, right? This is starting a business, right? That you have no idea if it's ever going to work out, right? But he believed that it was going to work out in his mind, right? So we're talking about mindset thing. We're not talking about MPA right now. We're talking about mindset. There was something that drove Helgi that said, I'm going to make a change and make a difference. I'm going to come up with not $850, but $100,000, right? We're going to figure out a way to do this with zero. And they find a way if it's something that is valuable to you. So sometimes when the people don't purchase, right, it's because they don't see that value in that product. And sometimes that value that they don't see is simply because the person that's presenting the value doesn't believe in the value itself.
Lesson 1, change maker.
Does that make sense?
I get so quiet and everybody's looking at me.
I see things churning in your head.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Like, why the heck isn't it? I don't know. Yeah.
Why the heck isn't it what?
That it's not going away then. Like those thoughts, no matter how much that you focus on, no, that's not true. No, go away. Those aren't, that it's worth more than that. At some point, you just start, with the way that they say working with bound nature, it should just go away. Right?
Stacey, I've got something else on that part. How often do you have like somebody or an influencer that you talk to that, like, if it's not pumps you up, but like just basically, hey, it's awesome what you do, it's legit. Do you ever have like any of those, a lot of those conversations to kind of get the ball rolling? Does that ever end up happening?
Like on the not on the mindset part.
No.
I mean, that have actually gone through my program.
Has there been people you've talked to that are like, this is awesome, like the stuff that you're doing, like you're getting any kind of that feedback?
I guess on my videos I do, when I would see them in person.
Yeah.
Like over Christmas, so many more people have been watching my videos than I thought. They're like, hey, that stuff's really good, and I like your videos. And
do you ever reach out to those people and like just say, hey, if you want to connect and talk, and like actually talk to them and get their feedback?
I have been now, because that was on my list to do last week, is to reach out to those people. So just trying to connect and set up times to talk with them.
Because that's a big thing. Sorry, Camila, were you saying something?
Yeah, well, how's that going?
I met with a few of, like, my goal right now is to meet with my clients, my current fitness clients, and then present my group program. And so with going over, be like, hey, do you watch my videos? And because I see you on there and I'm like, hey, you should really look at getting into this. And I mean, their interest is there, but then I'm just waiting for them to come back and actually decide. It's like, oh yeah, let me think about that. And I'm like, but I don't know if that's the answer you're looking for. But so it's just like it's waiting for the numbers to fall. They are. So I'm getting out there and talking about it more.
You know what it becomes like? It just becomes easier from the numbers of when you just see enough proof. It's like that reticular activator. When we talk about it, it's like it is a powerful agent. Of the more you see proof and hear from people and go, that the more that confidence builds up and belief, and it's like, okay, I'm pretty good at this. Like I'm pretty legit. So I think that's the part where I'm wondering just how much to get that ball rolling, because from a personal standpoint of, off of what like Stian's saying, is like one of the things is having that supporting cast of when you think value-wise not there. I talked about with Gary in the beginning, right? I'm just like, I thought it was nuts. But then when I started thinking about it, I was like, oh, wait a second. But then there's times where price-wise, I'll always go to the lower side, and Marissa will turn around and go, are you fucking nuts? So I have that quickly of like, what are you crazy? So having that supporting cast, to push that envelope, the influence part, it's helpful. I know it's helped me on that part as well because of the stories and all that stuff, and then the proof on top of it. So I think it's a culmination of a couple, this part, that part, but finding those influences, right? I think that's an important piece to it of why it's so important from day one. We've always talked about keep doing. That's the one thing definitely I've taken away big time from the whole MPA experience is that you just keep doing, and then you just start to find your way. So I think that's the part is like finding that value. I think runs the same train is that you just keep talking to people. Yeah. This is awesome. Then you're just going to build it up and go, yeah, it is awesome. Cool. Let's go. Done. Let's do it. My 2 cents.
Yeah, that's good too.
There's a great tool, Stan, Stacy, and everybody, about self-worth. And that tool is the tripod, right? Do you know what I'm talking about? The tripod legs and breaking down those tripod legs. Sometimes he just needs to be cut off completely, right? We just need to knock him out. So the tripod legs, right, are proof that it can be done, right? So one of those tripod legs that you can build off of, right, is everyone on this call and Vince, right? Vince just told you like a whole array of like supporting systems and all that stuff, but people that are making it happen, Brian, use that. So if you're like, what's the self-worth, right? When Brian first started this, do you think that all of a sudden people were paying him all of this money to be part of a group for him? Absolutely not. Absolutely none of that. Like the same exact things that every single one of you are going through, he has gone through and still goes through to this day, right? There's still tripod legs that we have to knock down every week about certain things. There's still stuff but you know what the difference is? We never stop. It's always simplicity plus consistency of that stuff. And then once it's into your subconscious and once it's into your brain and you're actually doing those things, right? It becomes easier even when you don't want to do those things, right? And that's how you gain a bigger part of self-worth, right? And that's when comparative mindset and all those other things, you're, in my opinion, and Camellia, I don't know about you, but I still have 2 voices in my head. Maybe I'm schizophrenic. I don't know. But there's always voices in my head saying that there's no fucking way that you can do this. And then there's another one that's like, all right, I get it. Thanks, right? Being it the ego, whatever you want to call it. And then saying, okay, but move forward. Right? Just keep moving forward. But there's those voices for me. I still have those voices.
I think we all have the voices, and it's exactly what Gary said. It's what you do with those voices. I mean, Gary triggered something in me of about a month ago or so where we were talking about rates and my specific rates, and he's like, that's really low, isn't it? And I'm like, yeah, they are kind of low. The next day, I raised them. I doubled them, basically. Went from specific rate for 1 hour to the same rate at 30 minutes. So completely doubled, and not a single person has bought. Not a single person. If they had, there's always somebody else to fall in the funnel. So you take a risk, sure. But Stacy, you said something earlier that the language is not really that good. You said, I'm waiting. I'm just waiting. And waiting isn't going to make anything happen. So my question to you might be, what can you do to make these folks be more intentional in their responses to you, right? So what is it that you're doing as you're reaching out to these people, and how can you encourage them to take more action quickly or quicker?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I met with them Saturday and then followed up with them Monday.
And let's talk about the language in your meeting and in your follow-up. So what kind of language are you leaving the conversation with?
Did you say leaving or leading?
Yeah, so when your end You're ending the conversation. What's
Okay.
the language that you're ending the conversation with?
With these people, I went with, I think this would really be a great program for you. And they're like, yeah, okay, this is great. I mean, we went into detail, and I told them about how it would work, and they were interested, like, oh yeah, that would be really great, but let me think about it. And so I'm like, all right, just let me know on Monday. So then they come to class on Monday, and they didn't say anything there. And it's all, it's just kind of crazy when they come into class and then leaving. Kind of goes fast. So I just sent them a quick message. And really, I'm trying to think. I only have, so one responded, one I met with, and she was new completely to the program, to even my training. So I was kind of letting her know, not get nervous in the program. I thought, okay, now I can go back and talk to her about the mindset again. And so yeah, I guess I just when I responded, like, just wanted to see if you thought any more about that. Again, I think it would be something great for you to be in.
So I want to ask you, as you're having these conversations with the people, are you actually going through the presentation steps that we've gone through? The whole consultative process steps?
You mean as far as like on the mindset? I just had questions set up of what my goals and outcomes were for kind of like a meet up. Let's make sure that you're still happy with your program, where we can add on to it, and this is what I'm doing now. I think you would be great. This would be a good program for you.
Okay. So you're not really going through a whole consultative process. You're not going through Changemaker.
Probably not the complete part. No, I go through the questions part.
Yeah. And see, again, I think this is something that most of you are struggling with. Those steps are designed in specific order for a reason, right? And you have to go through the whole entire process to successfully close and get the sale. You can do the questions, but if you don't show them the presentation or build the problem and show them the solution to the problem, they're not going to want to buy anything because they don't see that they need to buy anything. You must go through each of those specific steps. And Stacy, you're missing the close. You didn't say, this is what I recommend at XX, which would you prefer? You left it open-ended for them, and you gave them the opportunity to just walk away and be non-committal, right? So you left that open for them. But if you follow, and Gary and I were talking about, there's so much noise out there about sales, and it's not my words, and is this really going to work? And I don't believe in having to do, this type of close. I don't want to put pressure on people. But you are selling every day of your life in every situation that you're in, and you have to be good salespeople if you want to grow a business. That's the only thing that matters. Of course, once you get them, it's going to matter that you provide good service and you get results, but you're not going to get them if you don't sell. You have to sell. And the solution that we've given you for selling is beautiful. Eric and I, Eric Ruth, and I were just talking about sales in a conversation we had the other day, and we've done this system for years. It's what I used originally when I had my fitness business, and we talked about my friend Dick Chilton that helped create it. And we realized that there is over $400 million in sales that he's helped generate because of this specific system. Because of people following from step 1 through step 7 or whatever number of steps it ends up being, they make sales, and they make big sales. Because it works. But you have to follow the process. You can't say, oh, I did the question, but I didn't do a presentation, or I did the presentation, but I didn't do the questions, or yeah, I didn't really ask for the sale. I just kind of left it to them. It won't work unless you go from A to Z. You have to go from A to Z. You have to sell. Okay, I'm done.
I can understand everybody having resistance to something like that, right? It's new to you, right? Like, maybe I don't want to word it this exact way, right? There could be resistance there, right? Shake your head, say yes, so that I don't look stupid.
I had it too.
Yeah, you will have the resistance. Now, with resistance, everything in life when you first start does not need to feel good, right? Meaning if you have the resistance and it doesn't feel good all the time to say do that sales structure, those 7 steps. Sometimes it doesn't feel good the first time. You don't get it the first time. Like, I don't know, all this stuff. But you know what? Like, sometimes the first push-up doesn't feel good, right? Sometimes the first, like, argument with your spouse does. I don't know. Sometimes it just doesn't fucking feel good, but you have to do it anyway, right? Sometimes it's like, I don't want to go for a run today. But you know what? When you strap your sneakers on, you go for the run and you feel better afterwards. Or when you do the sales process the way it is and you get the sale afterwards, you feel a million times better. And you're like, okay, but you know what? The next time resistance is going to be there again. And it might not feel good again. But when you go through it and you follow follow the damn instructions, right? When you do it that way, it over time gets better, gets easier, becomes second nature, and it's not icky and it doesn't feel bad. Does that make sense? Because at first it does not. I remember my first conversation with Vince, it does not feel good. Some shit just does not feel good, right? But you know you are worth it and you do matter. And with that mattering, sometimes you just got to fucking do it. Because if you just stand still, Brian says it in one of the modules, like that's the worst thing you could do is just stand still, right? And do nothing. And that doesn't mean that you're not contacting people. That doesn't mean that you're not putting effort into stuff in order to generate, like being relational and telling people about, your product. That doesn't mean that you're standing still doing that. It means that you're standing still doing something else, right? That means that you're not following through doing something else.
So like the missed step somewhere.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Vince, you're the, I don't get to talk to everybody, but you're the one that seems to have gone through the process from start to finish consistently. What have your thoughts, results been?
So, Stace, going right off, like the biggest thing on this whole talk right off the bat. So I took the simplicity plus consistency equals results model, right? The consistency, the biggest part is that purpose, the why, right? Of like always come back to that. It's from an association standpoint, it comes back to that's home plate. That's home plate. And no matter when the shit hits the fan, you always come back to knowing why. This is what I'm doing. So my home plate has always come back to, right? I know that I want the freedom, the family, all that stuff, and being able to like, still keep coaching. So from a results standpoint of going through all this, like I mentioned earlier, just the more you kept moving in action, the more you just have enough experience where eventually you just know when it comes to value, when it comes to your message, when it comes to just understanding exactly, you come back to the home plate of what that why was. It became so clear now that it makes everything else so easy because now it was like that consistent action just kept going, but it was always come back to fundamentally, why am I doing this? So if that wasn't ever there was a couple of times where for sure could have fell off the track. That was one reason. Having the influence, obviously, having everything here is another huge reason. But the results have been just sticking to the environment of all this stuff and just consistently hearing the message and going. That's the biggest part is like from start to now is it was just time. It was just time. It was experience of just enough of it. You see it. I think it comes back to our subconscious, right? Of where everything gets programmed. How? Like we know it starts off with, I love that what Dr. Mike says, that piece of bubble gum. Well, the more that you keep untangling, which is through here, language, visual, keep going, doing, action, hearing, value. Like, and the more that kept going, eventually it was just like, okay, cool, I got it. And now in the last, probably 6 weeks, something's definitely different than it ever was before because now I just feel like I got it. Now I know it's like all the stuff before was forcing. I had a good call with Carrie about it the other day where before it felt like a lot of forcing was going on. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Yep. And you just keep forcing things and doing it because I know I have to do this because this is why I want to do this. So I have to keep doing this stuff. So I was overthinking videos, overthinking this, but would do it anyway. Now it's at the point where it's like, okay, now I understand what I'm trying to put out. Now I understand how to do this. Now the flow suddenly is kicking in, which wasn't there in the beginning. And it only just happened 6 weeks ago is where I started to now consciously be aware of, oh, cool, something's different. Something's different after all this stuff. So it took a while. And again, it's all the stuff combined, but that's probably the results of just that consistency. Just keep going, doing. It doesn't matter how you're, like Gary said, how you're feeling about it. You keep pushing through and you get out on the other side, because now I'm loving it. Now it's like that new level of, it doesn't even feel like, you still have to keep working and doing, but it doesn't feel as tough anymore. Like it's just, okay, I know what I'm doing now. Like I got it. Like, and now it's just, okay, keep building and what else can we do more? But that initial forcing is gone in essence. And I'm sure it's going to come back in some way. And that's, how you ascend and keep going. But I think that was probably the biggest part, is just keep going. And like Gary said, it's no doubt about it, that forcing happens because of, again, it's the why, it's the who you put around you, it's all that stuff combined. But that's probably the biggest thing. But Camille, like you said, the steps. I'm a huge believer in that. The simplicity, everything has steps, everything. And everybody wants a roadmap. And we've talked about that before, but having that map is so huge because you guys have been through it. So, talking to people that know and can give you that specific roadmap, you've got to respect that and listen to it, and you go all in with it, right? You just have to understand. And that's the biggest part too, is that took away was the all in factor of like, okay, cool. Yep. Got it. Doing it. And Stacey, the other part too is this, I don't know how often this comes up for you, but like sometimes all it takes is literally just one little piece from something of what we learned, but it doesn't mean I took the whole thing. I was like, oh, I'm taking that whole thing and doing it. It was like, all I needed to hear was like 3 words of it and go, got it. Boom, done. I'm going to do it like this. And it was your own take, finding your own style with, okay, I see how that applies to my style, not going word for word on everything. So I think that's another important factor of, understanding and going, that's important to me for sure. That's legit right there. But this other stuff, okay, I got to dig deeper into that. I got to understand it. But other stuff is just not overthinking and going, I've got to know every single word of it. It's like, no, this is how to, okay, got it. Oh, beautiful. But every step for sure has had some kind of impact. And every step has definitely been the GPS, roadmap, whatever you want to call it, has been important in its own way. But I think that's kind of like from the results and standpoint, you get there. That's the biggest part, is you 100% get there. No doubt.
And the beautiful thing about what was just said there, and I find this a lot with talking with people who have been through MPI, myself too, but is that the guts, like the deep down gut of everything that Vince just said, right, is the difference between a fixed mindset and a dynamic mindset, right? You could be fixed on this thing, or you could be dynamic to challenge, right? And fixed on this one thing, you'll never be able to really, really get to the level that you want to be. Sure, you're always going to be, Vince said, I'm sure there's going to be resistance at the next level. There is. There is always going to be resistance at the next level, I think. Chameleon may disagree, but I think that there is, right? But it's that dynamic mindset saying, I get that. I get that there's going to be that resistance, but I know that I can make this happen.
First day, accept the nature of the game. So it's acceptance.
Stacey, how are you feeling?
I'm never responding to anybody's questions again.
Don't say that.
This is a beautiful phone call.
It's good stuff.
Everybody's going to learn from this. This is good stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
This is a beautiful phone call, because a lot of times we fall into that, well, it's never been done. Like, I've never done this before. And then that becomes the fixed mindset of it. I've never done this before. I don't know how to do this. I can't charge whatever it is for this person because I've never done it, right? But the dynamic mindset will tell you something differently, right? It's fighting that resistance, because that fixed mindset resistance does not just, it just doesn't go away for no one.
If I could just throw one other thing out there related to the dynamic mindset, but there's trust also. You're in this ambassador group, you're learning from all of us that have been there, done that. We get it. We understand where you've been. I mean, we're in that rabbit hole. We were there with you. Trust in what we're teaching you. Trust in what we're telling you, that we know, we've been there, we've done it. It works. So just trust in that and take the leap for yourself, and know that even if you do fall, we're going to catch you anyway. But just trust that it's going to be okay.
Can I share something?
Please.
Yeah, I don't know if it relates to the sales process, but it really relates to pricing. I got a call on yesterday, and I was asked to do a presentation on Friday, and he asked me what I charged for our presentation, and I was a little bit hesitant in telling him the price, so I said $350, which is my price, and he said, "Well, we paying $600 for 45 minutes." So I said, "Yeah, I'm raising my price to $600." So I changed my price, my hour rate for speaking engagements up to $600 now. So that was it was easy for me to upgrade my price up like $300.
There you go.
So like I said, people are willing to pay a lot more than you think for your service.
Well, it's because you're worth a lot more than you think.
Mm-hmm. Most of the time.
But it was very easy. I mean, a lot of time it would be hard for me to upgrade my price, but it's not anymore.
It shouldn't be anymore, especially at the level of expertise that all of you have achieved. We all see it. It's funny. You all see it, we all see it, except yourself. You don't see it yourself, but I bet if you talk to anybody else that knows you and you said you were charging $350 for a speaking engagement, they would have laughed and said, "Only? Really?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think fundamentally too, guys, the biggest part that, that kind of hit me of like what our whole circle is about and what this whole thing is about is we're all leaders. And that's, at the end of the day, most people don't want to lead. And that alone has value. I mean, you see it on the news. We'll see different people that people be like, "Oh my God, that person's such an idiot. And what the hell are they talking about?" But they're laughing all the way to the bank. There's this one girl on TV, Marissa, some political, she's crazy. You guys she's real mainstream. She's nuts. She says shit all the time on Fox News. It's just like, what the hell are you talking about? But it seems like she's playing a game. Like, it's almost like she's just doing it intentionally just to piss people off and say stuff. But does she really believe that? Or is she just doing this to get a rise and entertain people and all that other stuff? But in the end, it's because to lead, we have that inside of like accepting that you're a leader. And most people don't want to do that. Most people don't want to step out and say, boom, here we go. And that's a small percentage of why we're all entrepreneurial. This is a leadership group, whatever it is. Like that alone, that the fact that you want to be a leader right there already holds crazy value right off the top. Because majority, as we know, don't want to do that. Majority don't want to step out and go, okay, here we go. I'm willing to say something. So just that alone, you could be saying anything. Like these cats piss all over the house and do all kinds of crap and just be willing to go do it. And people literally, because you're willing to do that, somebody's going to listen and be like, yeah, I don't know what the hell he's talking about, but I can tell what he's saying. Like, like if you understand what I mean by it, it's just that alone, the fact that you have, like everyone's here for a reason, that I want to lead. I want to go out and lead. And just that alone has crazy instantaneous value associated with it, because most don't want to go out on their own, do it and have their voice. And it's how I feel about that.
True. It's true. I said it before. Most people are walking around with their umbilical cord just looking for a place to plug it in. And you're providing that resource for them to plug into for a reason, because you're good at what you do and you're taking that leadership role. So do it. Use it.
And those are one of those not feel so good moments where you're like, it's time to step up to the next step and be that leader that you want to be and that you know that you can be. That can be a scary moment in time. Is saying that I know that I have the ability to do this. I know that I can do this. You know that you have the value to do it. You do know that. But it's scary to jump off the cliff. It is. But if you don't jump off the cliff, you'll regret it. Anything else?
Well, clearly we didn't get to lifetime client value today. That was a really good call.
It was a great call. I think that this call was probably one of our best calls. And I think that the people that watch this call are going to get a lot out of this call.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, I'm going to stop the recording.
Okay.